So today, what is the topic for today? So the topic today is really diving into emotional intelligence and what that is and how to find that balance. So really, when I'm talking about emotional intelligence, there is three categories, and what category you fall in depends on where your mindset is and how you're thinking. So really, let's just jump right into it and get into it. So when we look at emotional intelligence, we're really looking at three things. We are looking at whether you are using your emotional mind, your rational, logical mind, or your wise mind. And I'm going to break through what each of those mindsets look like and how to find that perfect balance between both emotional and logical mindsets. So first, let's go into it. Emotional mindset is us thinking with our emotions based off of like how we might be feeling, how things are sitting with us. It's usually something that is impulsive. It's a very reactive mindset, and emotional mindsets can cause some harm and damage. And let me give you an instance. So for an example, maybe, I don't know, I'm trying to think of an example in my life. All right, I got one. So say I have a girlfriend, right? She decides to just stop talking to me for some sudden reason. And I'm like, what's going on? My mixed feelings could have it all mixed up where I'm like, oh, she stopped talking to me maybe because she's jealous of me, or maybe I'm not good enough for her, or, just going through that rabbit hole, or a guy you're talking with doesn't call you back and all of a sudden you're like, wow, this guy just ghosted me. What's happening? He's not responding. And you're just allowing your feelings to lead how you're thinking. And sometimes our impulsive actions to feelings that don't feel good, that are hurt, can be detrimental to us. Sometimes we might act and say, you know what, I'm going to cut this person off. And I really don't have the background story, but it's not making me feel good right now. And we're not really gathering the facts when we are in an emotional mindset or an emotional state of thinking. Emotional states of thinking is really fueled by our emotions, whether it's positive or negative. And a lot of times when we are using that emotional mindset of thinking, it's really coming from unmet needs and just a lack of understanding what those facts are. The reactive and impulsive part, typically you find with the negative feeling. So whether you're feeling hurt or sad or angry or unhappy, those are things that fuel our emotional thinking and get that gearing. And usually it's tied to psychological needs as well, right? There's something that's not being met. It's kind of our primitive mindset when you're just looking at emotions and leading with emotions, because the reality is we don't have all the facts. So flip into it. Let's look at the other side of rational thinking or logical thinking. And to be honest with you, I know I kind of sway more on like a rational logic thinking. And the reality is, rational and logic thinking is checking the facts, is taking the time to understand what's going on, just being very like chronological, saying, okay, this is what that is. And a lot of times people who think rational or logical leave out the emotions. They're like, forget about the emotions. We'll toss that out with the like water, throw it out somewhere. But logical thinking has its strengths, but it can also have its downside, because we are not just logical beings. We do have emotions that are going on and happening and being fluid within us, right? So how do we shift from that logical thinking, which is great when you're in academics, like having that evidence-based, checking those researches and stuff, and like understanding what is happening is really great. And it's something that is positive, but it's not the balance of where we want our critical thinking to be. Because the reality is, if we only think logical, we are missing the point of critical thinking. And the best way to have that in between is to come to wise mind. And wise mind, in my perspective, is a growth mindset. I think wise mind is one of those key points that if we use correctly, we can really build on. And it's allowing ourselves to feel our emotions, recognizing what feelings are coming up for us without ignoring it, right? Because when you're in logical mind, you're completely ignoring your feelings. But it's an important part of the puzzle and how things are fitting, and recognizing, certain things are causing feelings to happen, and our feelings are attached to our needs. So we can't just dismiss them. We need to recognize them and validate them and figure out, okay, maybe there's a need that's not being met that you have to problem solve or make a request for. And what is that looking like? So when you look at wise mind, it is really the perfect balance and harmony between emotional thinking or mindset and logical thinking or mindset. It is recognizing those feelings, those emotions, and checking the facts to make sure that those feelings and emotions are in line with the facts, right? It's allowing us to become emotionally intelligent and understanding a situation without really reacting, without knowing what the background is. So what does that look like? That's a lot of information. So when you look at the wise mind, a perfect example is, all right, let's go back to the girlfriend who all of a sudden cut you off. Maybe she's just busy. Maybe she has a life of her own and she's trying to balance her things out and sort her stuff out. So yeah, where I might be hurt and I might be sad, understanding maybe she's busy. Now I'm checking the facts. I can make a proper informed decision and say, okay, that's cool. Maybe we can take a step back and I could give you space, or is there anything that I could support you on? And if she says no, that's cool, keep it moving. And if she says yes, that's great. Now let's go back to that guy or girl who all of a sudden you think ghost you. And maybe that is the case. Maybe they ghosted you. And yes, that might cause a whole bunch of feelings of like not feeling great, unpleasant feelings. But another thing is like, maybe their car broke down and they're figuring out what's happening with their car, so they didn't answer their phone in that moment. But having misinformation does not allow us to make informed decisions. And wise mind allows us to stop and say, yes, although we're feeling all these emotions, one, let's not react on them until we get the other piece, which is the logical side of the information, and then making informed decisions that help grow us and allow us to use emotional intelligence to say, okay, I understand what's going on. I understand where I fit in and where my feelings are. Another reason why I love wise mind is because using wise mind also allows us to establish boundaries. Because, again, going back to feelings are attached to needs, is if I know that something or somebody is really bothering me, or this thing is like not sitting right with my soul, so it's bringing up some serious like angry emotions or sad emotions or just painful emotions, I can say, okay, what is going on? Check the facts, understanding, okay, this behavior is bringing up this type of emotion. Now I'm going to set some boundaries and parameters to protect myself, right? And again, it's having that balance of knowing those emotions, sitting with them, understanding it, and saying, okay, I have the facts. I know what is happening with me. And saying, now let's use that wise mind and use that to fuel some decisions. Because again, wise mind is a growth mindset. It allows us to expand our thinking and say, we're not just going to stay in one state of being emotional or just being logical. Another point of when wise mind is so crucial is when we're in crisis. And the reality is, everybody at some point of our life we're going to face crisis. And crisis can bring up a whole bunch of emotions. And, it can be a simple crisis, like changing jobs. Those are simple, like developmental crisis or like changes in our lives where it brings up so much emotions. But being able to recognize, okay, these are what I'm feeling. It's okay. Saying I'm not going to react based off those emotions. I'm going to wait until I have all the facts to why I'm doing that. And sometimes it might be doing a body scan or figuring out what triggers are around you to that are causing some of these emotions, and then acting within that space of wise mindset to say, now I can make a decision to help me move forward or past what I'm going through emotionally, right? And that's the beauty of using Wise Mind. Is it really is a mindset that can help us process difficult situations, uncomfortable situations, things that we might not be informed about, and lets us stop and reflect what our feelings are, what are our emotions coming up, what we might need in that, and then join it with what the facts are, what is really going on. Digging in a little deeper, making sure we have the information, and then making an informed decision based on our emotions and our feelings, our facts, what we might need, and being able to move forward. So when we are looking at supporting each other as a community, a perfect way that we can grow is by using Wise Mind and understanding how it could take us further along in our journeys of our growth by using Wise Mind sets and building on that, and understanding how Wise Minds work. So thank you for listening to another chit chat of the Therapy Addicts, where we talked about a little bit about Wise Mind and using emotional intelligence, and how we can use growth mindset strategies such as Wise Mind to build strong well-being within ourselves and our communities. So I hope you took away something from that. Don't forget to subscribe. Stay tuned to our next episode, which is going to be an amazing conversation. And don't forget to visit us at www.thetherapyaddicts.com so you can join our mailing list and stay up to date on everything that is happening with the Therapy Addicts. So take care, and thank you again for listening to the Therapy Addicts, your podcast with everything mental health, well-being, and everything in between. So take care until next time.